Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Everyday Athlete Podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm your host, Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran and founder of Red H Nutrition, providing everyday athletes just like you clean, effective nutritional solutions, custom formulated to help you reach your absolute potential every single day. Hello, athletes. It is that time again, episode number 16. Thanks for tuning in with me this week for our discussion on red light therapy and what you need to know. So we are 16 episodes strong here at the Everyday Athlete Podcast. And I feel like by now, I've said it enough times, I will try almost anything once. And I will especially try almost anything once if it has to do with improving the quality of life or fitness performance or just finding those 1% advantages that I think add up over time. Have you guys ever read the book by Ben Bergeron called Chasing Excellence? So I read this probably a couple years ago now. When it came out, I got it right away. But in that book, he talks a lot about how he takes his athletes through a process to be able to succeed at one of the most intense events that an athlete will go through. And that's the CrossFit Games. So it takes a lot of preparation. And he preaches that it's about the little things. It's about the small things, those 1% advantages that if you focus on those small things and over time, they're going to add up to huge, huge advantages. And you know that the whole point of this podcast and the topics that I talk about are finding you ways, because I know you're busy. I'm trying to find you ways to improve your life. And because we're so busy, we've set in our routines and we wake up one day and we know we're not just going to be a completely different human being. That's not how it works. So we've got to find those small little ways to improve ourselves. And that is what this podcast is all about. And that is what today's episode is all about. One of my secret weapons as a human being is that I understand that consistency and time are important. And when you put those two variables together, the consistency and time, that's when the really, really big results start to happen. And that's when you start to see the changes in your life that you want to see. So how does all of this relate to red light therapy? Well, this is another way that you, the everyday athlete, this is how you can improve your quality of life. But what does quality of life mean to me? Well, that's a good question. And now it's going to mean a little bit something different for you. But for me, quality of life means being better every single day. It means that when you wake up in the morning, you know that there's a new opportunity out there to help you with a goal that you've set. For example, I love fitness and I love to improve my performance. Now, I'm not a competitive athlete anymore. I really don't even do many competitions. I don't have my sights set on any competitions, and I'm not making any money off of this. But I still really care about getting the most out of my body and out of my DNA and finding what my true capacity actually is. Now, I believe that there is no ceiling to what human capacity is. So I believe that I will spend my entire life trying every single day to be better than I was because I will never reach my potential because there is no ceiling on human potential. So I'm always looking for new ways to help me get better, and especially when it comes to my fitness and performance. So when I want to feel less pain, less inflammation, I want to sleep better, I want to recover better, those are the solutions I'm going to seek out. And before I go off on too much of a tangent of what brought me to red light therapy, ultimately it was wanting more. But here's how I came about it, okay? So I was scoping out some Groupons one afternoon, and I was looking at offers. And some infrared sauna time came up, and it was in the same category as like aesthetics things like Botox and float therapy. And then there was this red light therapy. So I'd heard of it before, but I really didn't even know that it existed in my area. It's not something I've ever looked about getting into. So when I saw that there was red light therapy option on Groupon, I'm like, well, okay, this is in our area now. Maybe this is something I should look into. So now let's talk about red light, okay? I'm going to tell you a little about the history of light therapy, and then we're going to get into the meaty stuff about red light therapy, the benefits, how it works, and then I'm going to share the options that I have for you, including home red light therapy units, and how you can start adding this to your routine just like I have. So the history of light therapy. Humans have been aware of the power of light for a really long time, and currently we know that we need natural sunlight to help with our body's production of vitamin D and prevent rickets. So sunlight, you could argue, is an essential nutrient. But let's roll back the clock a little bit. And nearly 1,000 years ago, we found documentation that light therapy was being used in ancient Indian medicine. In the 18th century and on, now we start to see these scientific research literatures that refer to the use of light therapy with many ailments. This includes ulcers, shrinking tumors, healing wounds, and then healing skeletal and joint issues. So now you know that light has been used for centuries to help heal. But what about red light? Like, what's the deal with that? In 1960, a Hungarian researcher was using a red light laser to cure tumors that were implanted in hamsters. So, unfortunately, when he was using the red light, he did not find that the red light shrunk the tumors more significantly than his control group. But what he did find is that the wounds that were created from the insertion of the tumor, so these little hamsters, they're lab rats essentially, and they have to have these tumors implanted. Well, there had to have been a cut. Well, where he had used the red light, those hamsters healed significantly, statistically significantly quicker than the group that did not have the red light therapy. So, although he didn't necessarily get any answers to his hypothesis, he certainly got a new opportunity for a new research venue, right? A new research avenue. And this is, oh my gosh, did red light lasers really help these hamsters heal their wounds quicker? Well, more research has come out, literally thousands and thousands of research studies that have talked about red light. And in 1990, NASA since has been using it to help astronauts maintain bone and muscle mass. Now, when we're going to talk about red light therapy for this podcast, there's two terms that you need to know. It's red and near infrared. And those are the two wavelengths of light that we're referring to when we talk about red light therapy. This is also referred to, I'm not going to call it this, but in literature and then in perhaps some blogs, you're going to hear it called photobiomodulation. Photobiomodulation, or PBM. So red light therapy involves the use of specific wavelengths of natural light to enhance the health and function of our cells. This is done without any harmful UV rays or excessive heat, so it is generally considered very, very safe. People are actually doing this out of their homes as well. A lot of people think of light as just about being the absence of darkness. But if you Google the visible light spectrum, you're going to see there's a lot we don't see. In fact, the human eye doesn't see a lot of things. So the point is, there's a lot more to light than what you might know or what you might see. When I started to look more into red light therapy, I picked up the book. I got it on Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Red Light Therapy. And here is what it says in the introductory paragraph. And it's a very, very strong statement for red light therapy. And I totally support the statement. What the author writes is, the author is Ari Whitten, and he writes, if there were a pill that was proven to have powerful anti-aging effects on our skin, combat neurological disease, fight depression and anxiety, increase fat loss, speed recovery from exercise, increase strength, endurance, fight autoimmune disorders, and speed healing from injury, all without side effects, it would be a billion-dollar drug. It would be a miracle drug. Well, the good news is that this drug exists and it's called red light therapy. End quote. So, wow, this is some powerful stuff, right? Well, yeah, it is. It is. And in fact, there are over 3,000 clinical research trials involving the use of red light therapy to study the benefits and effectiveness of red light therapy, all the way from exercise to autoimmune disorders to depression, anxiety, skin, neurological diseases. You name it, red light is being used to treat it. So to summarize, red light helps with a whole heck of a lot of stuff and helps you feel a whole lot better. But how does it work? So that's another great question. And the majority of studies involving red and near infrared light are around the mechanism of action surrounding mitochondrial energy production in cells. Mitochondria are the tiny organelles in our cells that are to be the powerhouses. They create the powerful energy our body uses to process. And red light therapy helps the mitochondria create even more of that energy. Now, in the case of mitochondrial power production, more is always better. So when exposed to red light therapy, there are specific photons, light energy. These photons react with the photoreceptors in our cells, and these photoreceptors are called cytochrome C oxidase. This interaction between the photon and that photoreceptor, this interaction stimulates the mitochondria in our cells to use oxygen more efficiently. This then allows the mitochondria to produce more ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and this is a complex organic chemical that provides energy to drive many cellular processes like muscle contraction, nerve impulses, and chemical synthesis, all very, very important for physical fitness and exercise. ATP is often also referred to as the molecular unit of currency. When our cells have more energy, they perform better, and the rest of the body follows suit. Red light therapy has been called by some researchers as bringing the cells back to homeostasis, which is balance. And ultimately, homeostasis is perfect health, when the body achieves that harmony, synergy, and reciprocation. Another mechanism of red light therapy, besides the mitochondrial energy production, is creating a temporary low-dose metabolic stress. The stress is known as hormesis, and it builds up the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant defense systems of the cell. Now, hormesis works a lot like Wolff's Law does on building bone strength, right? If you stress the system and then allow it to recover, it's going to be built back stronger than before. So, red light therapy actually produces a low level of stress that stimulates healthy adaptations. It is no secret that being stronger makes you harder to kill. And in life, we get stronger after we experience low levels of stress or sickness. We exercise, right? We exercise to break down and build ourselves back up. Light therapy is the exact same thing. It acts as a low-level stressor to our cells, and the end result is that our cells gain these advantageous adaptations, including more energy, higher antioxidants, and then more resilient anti-inflammatory systems. So now you know what red light therapy is, its benefits, the mechanism of actions, and I want to ask you, are you convinced yet? If you're ready to try out red light therapy, here are some options for you. You could buy a whole home unit. Now, a full body unit is about $1,000 online, or you can get a small spot treatment unit for about $250. Or you could find a Groupon like I started with. Or you could find a club, a gym, or a spa that gives you reliable and consistent access. Ever heard the saying, failing to prepare is preparing to fail? A major component to your competitive success will be your nutrition prep. And I created a competition nutrition guide to help you utilize pre, intra, and post-competition nutrition protocols, boost your confidence heading into a competition, recover quicker post-comp so you get right back to training, and increase your power output and max capacity so you can own that podium. I created this guide just for the everyday athlete, and you can get your free copy at competitionnutritionguide.com. I'll say again, competitionnutritionguide.com. But here's the problem that I found. The problem that I found was if I was going to use a gym or a club or go to a facility, you've got to be consistent with red light therapy. So recommendations in all studies across the board, they're looking at least 3 times a week, with every day being the perfect scenario. So at least 3 times a day. Optimal is you're doing it every single day. So if you start doing the math here on how much it costs for a single visit to go to a spa or another place that has a red light unit for you to use, it's probably going to be about $30 to $50 for a drop-in. And this is looking at up to 15 minutes of red light therapy. Now, you don't need a lot of red light therapy, especially if you're using a stand-up whole body unit. Less is more in this case. So let's just imagine that it's 30 to 50 for 15 minutes of therapy. If you do it just a few times sporadically, you're not going to get results. Red light therapy, time over time, and all of these research study, it thrives and has the best results with consistency. So after finding out the research and understanding that consistency is important, it made sense for me to purchase my own home unit. I did my research and I found Mito Red brand. Mito Red is out of Arizona, and I think they are the best units for the best price, and they have free shipping too. There were a couple of brands out there. There's some on Amazon, and then there's another popular brand called Joov, Joov, that I looked into. But when it came to having the right specifications, which is you got to have the red and near infrared light, so it has to have the correct light spectrum or nanometers, which is the intensity. Then there's light coverage, and then of course there's price. The Mito Red brand beats everybody. Mito Red, they have a few different sizes to choose from. They have like small ones that you can hold just like on spot treatments, like if your knee hurts, if you want to put on your thyroid, on your belly, like things like that. Or they have units that work for, they're about 6 feet tall. And this is great for really deep penetration into organ health. This is great for full body coverage, and it certainly lessens the time in which you have to use it every day. Now, the small lights are great because if you're on a budget and you want to break into the red light scene, you can for only $250. That's Mito Red's entry-level unit, and it meets all the specifications on light wavelengths and been shown to be beneficial in research. So it's got the right kind of light at the right intensity. That's what you always want to look for in these units you're purchasing, whether it's going to be a Mito Red or whether it will be another brand. It's got to be the right kind of light, the red and near infrared, and then within the right nanometer wavelengths, and it's got to be the right intensity. Okay, so how many watts is this particular unit producing? Now, the downfall of these smaller units is that you want to treat your whole body or multiple parts of your body. You'll need a lot more times. The cool thing is with these larger units, the one that I decided to purchase, is you can cover a lot more areas of the body and the lights are more powerful. So they're going to get deeper into the tissue and deeper to help with organ health. Now, I go all in. When I do something, when I am sold on something, I go all in. So I purchased the Meet Omega, and it's their largest and most powerful light. Now, there's really no standard way to dose yourself red light. The unfortunate thing with all of the information out there, and when I was trying to figure out how to dose myself, I didn't really know where to start because literature and research is all over the place. I'm not doing it for a chronic illness or a sickness. I'm just really doing it for health and vitality and wellness and living life better, right? Those 1%. So finding how to dose yourself, there's no right or wrong way to do it. However, the caveat to that is research shows that if you do more is not better. More can actually harm you in a way where you actually can see the reverse effects, more lethargy instead of more energy. Now, depending on the light that you decide to purchase, that's going to determine how much time you spend in front of it. In the Meet Omega world, the largest one that Meet Red has, here's how my routine goes. I start with 2 minutes and I face the unit. So you do this and you're naked. I start with 2 minutes and I'm facing the unit, and it covers from my collarbone all the way down to my ankles. I turn around and I get the backside of my body. So I get the same from my clavicle down to my ankles, and I just turn around and I get 2 minutes on the backside of my body. I stand about 6 inches from the unit, which is what's suggested if you want to target the organs and deep tissue health. Now, light is very powerful, especially red and infrared, and it can reach past the first layers of the skin. And it is always suggested get as close to the light as you can so it can penetrate deep and get into the cells in your organs. So after I stand 2 minutes to my front, 2 minutes to my back, I sit down and I get my upper back for 2 minutes, which is going to cover, my whole entire head down to about my hips. And then I turn and face the unit. I actually do keep my eyes open because I'm acclimated now. Red light therapy is not bad for your eyes. Some people do cover their eyes simply because it can be just a little too intense to begin with, but I actually keep my eyes open. I get my face, my forehead, and my chest. And like I told you before, my main motivators for using red light is for organ health and joint health. And then that, I believe, is going to lead to overall health and longevity. This whole routine, it only takes me a little over 8 minutes. And it's such a quick and easy way to improve my quality of life. I do it in the morning. I do it one of the very first things I do when I wake up. There are recommendations that if you're doing it for exercise performance and recovery specifically, do it immediately or as soon as immediately after you can of your workout. So if you're really serious about this, I say buy a unit for yourself. If you start and just kind of like want to see what it feels like, get a Groupon, go to a club or a sauna. But just remember, you've got to stay consistent with the benefits. This isn't something that you can just do once a week or twice a week for a couple minutes and expect to see any results. You, in fact, would just be throwing your money down the drain with that. So I did the math on this one, and I want to share it with you. The unit that I bought, the Meet Omega, it comes with a 2-year warranty, and it cost me $956. It was free shipping, and I even had a small coupon that I was able to use. If you want that coupon, email me, katie@redhnutrition.com, and I'll hook you up. Now, one session at a spa here is $35. And this also comes with a membership commitment, and I do get some other offerings in that too. So for $35, one session is what I get. And if I wanted to go 5 times a week for at least a month, that's going to cost me $600 for 1 month. And I'm not even doing it every day. I'm doing it 5 times a week for about 15 minutes. That's $600. So to me, I wanted to do this for the long term. It's already 2/3 of the way after 1 month. I just figured to buy the unit itself. And I can't speak highly enough about my experience with red light therapy and the benefits. As of recording this podcast, I've been using my Meet Omega now for 4 weeks, and I'm just starting to experience the benefits. Energy, I have clearer skin, I have less knee, neck, and hip pain, and I'm actually sleeping better too. In the morning, I've also noticed that I have like a general cognitive or focus clarity that really I can't attribute to anything else that's changed in my environment, just adding red light. Listen, athletes, there are over 3,000 studies available. The information is out there on the benefits of red light therapy. The research is solid. I was sold before I ever even bought a unit. And now that I have one, I can't imagine living without it. It's just such a part of my routine. And I really think that if you're the kind of person who believes in stacking all the cards in your favor, red light therapy is a tool that you want to have in your toolbox. You just got to add it. You just got to add it in for your quest for optimization. And I highly suggest that you start with Meet Red brand. They're a great company. They're based right here in the USA, and you do get free shipping. If you want to know more about Meet Red, I am an ambassador for the brand. You can just send me an email, katie@redhnutrition.com, and I'll hook you up with a coupon code too. You guys, thanks so much for sticking with me again this week as I gave you the 411 on red light therapy. I've got a really fun episode next week. I'm going to share my diary of a juice fast. So I'm going to share the ups and downs of what I've experienced when I did my first ever juice fast. I didn't eat any solid foods and I stayed under 100 grams of sugar for 3 whole days, 81 hours to be exact. So I lived and now I want to podcast about it. So I'm going to be sharing what that feels like to refrain from solid foods for 3 days and what I learned from the whole experience. So you know what? As always, athletes, I know you're juggling a ton of responsibilities. I know you got a lot going on. So I want to help you out. Okay. I want to help you optimize your life and live your life better. Find your best fitness routine. Go to red8shop.com. Check out our awesome supplements to help bridge the gap between wellness and performance, and use code podcast20 at checkout. Save yourself 20%. Remember, head over to red8shop.com. Check out our supplements. Use code podcast20. Save 20%. Live your life better. Athletes, that's all for episode number 16. Until next week, this is KDD. Over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.